And speaking of getting worse, I don't know. When was the announcement made that Vince wanted $9 billion? Was it before or after Friday Night Smackdown, before the Elimination Chamber aired? Because if it was beforehand, the price has been devalued once this show aired.
I think it was beforehand. Actually, I know it was beforehand.
Well, now they're down to $8.5 billion just off this one program. Boy, I guess they figure, well, anybody that's going to buy it's already bought it or going to buy it. So we'll just give them 10 minutes of Sami, and then we'll just walk through the rest of it like we're in our sleep.
It was a weird go-home show, other than the Sami stuff.
That's what we're going to do, too. We're going to walk through this briskly, and we're not going to go to sleep on anything. But they did the Jerry Jarrett graphic, too, which was classy. And actually, it was a little bit, I thought, a little brighter, a little better color, the way they did it or whatever. But this show was packages. It was basically the ongoing Bloodline Sami story packages through the whole thing. And then there was random matches mixed in. And they started it at the beginning. And then Natalya and Shotzi against Ronda and Shayna. And Shotzi's back in a tank again. An actual tank, folks, not an actual tank, a toy tank, but not like the drunk tank or whatever. Is Ronda Rousey completely uninteresting to you at this point now, with just from watching over the last year, whatever the fuck she's done or not done?
Not only do I agree with you on that, but I thought about it the other day, and someone I was talking to on the phone said something, and I hadn't even thought of this in a while, and it made it even more puzzling. Wasn't she a Heyman project?
Apparently he has forsaken her.
I guess so. I don't know.
Because I heard that in the past, but, or maybe he just, I don't want to get any on me. But anyway,
she's Ronda Rousey. If you want to ask, the answer to your question is she's Ronda Rousey, and we're weeks before Mania, and all of a sudden she's in a mid-card women's tag team on the roster. Yeah. That answers everything.
We should have seen less of her and enjoyed each time more than when they just had her come. Remember, they brought her back and she twisted in the wind in a battle royal, and it was awkward, and people started, kind of giving her the and she was uninterested, appearing, whatever.
The best thing she did actually was the Saudi Arabia show where she had to work in her karate gi. And she looked like, she looked intense, and she looked great that day. And then I don't know what's happened.
Well, what happened here was the heels foiled the Hart Foundation finisher, and Ronda armbarred Shotzi. And there you go. And again, I go back to, they did another Bloodline story package, and everything, great editing on these packages that tell the history. We used to call them history packages because they tell the history of the angle or the program, the rivalry, whatever the case. But now we're 30 minutes into the show, and the only thing, we watched packages and the bleh match.
You know what hit me during the Bloodline packages? The way that these backstage segments are such a big part of them, and the way they play into them. It almost makes it impossible to have a narrator for the packages. And then they ran into each other by the truck. Like, how do you do it?
Yeah. I like the way that they do these packages because they get the alternate shots. They've ISO'd all the cameras. So just because what goes actually onto the program, they've got other alternate camera angles, and they slow-mo, and they get people's expressions, and it's very artsy. But we've actually lost, now that you've brought my attention to it, we've lost completely the idea of let's go back to last week's program and show you exactly what happened. VTR replay of an angle. And that takes away some of the, you know what I'm talking about, not only in the territory days, but even in the Attitude Era or in WCW under TBS at the time. you would go back and look at the angle that took place. Here comes Austin, and he's saving, and the people are going crazy in the stands, and they're cheering it. You're seeing it in real time again. And you relive that excitement and how everybody was caught up in it. And and then the shocking moment when he gets hit with the fucking ostrich over his head or whatever. Just play the tape back in real time to see what happened. Everything's a package now. Everything's edited and made to look dramatic, but you lose the energy that you got from the actual angle itself. Or am I just being pissy again?
No, I think that's true. I mean, and the other thing to think about is every one of these backstage segments, they're great. And I'm not just talking about the bloodline, but for those who think like, oh, they should be put up for an Emmy, I mean, there's like fake crowd noise being pumped in behind it. So how can you really judge the acting when you have all that crap? But yeah.
Well, there's a laugh track in the 70s, or
That's true.
60s or whatever, same thing, but it was still annoying. But speaking of annoying, one of my favorite parts of the show these days, my guilty pleasure, was up next. We were treated to another appearance by Skid Row. And
they deserve their name. Come on, they deserve their name at this point. Hit Row. They are a hit. They are great.
They let them rap again this time. And they've all three of them got microphones. And the girl is talking over them, going, yeah, that's right, or whatever that she's saying while they're trying to make it. But it's just all over the top of each other together. And they got no, the old saying is no rhyme or reason. But in this case, it might be no rhyme or rhythm. Because I'm not a rap expert, Brian. You know more about
I like rap.
The rap genre than I do. Were they doing it right? It didn't sound like Max Caster.
It did not sound like Max Caster. It didn't sound like Oscar from Men on a Mission either. I think whatever talents they have musically, doing them in this setting in front of a live crowd does not display them well. I'm going to put that in the nicest, because I have to think they really do have some talents that WWE saw like, hey, they could really rap. Let's put them together. We'll have our own rap group. Because there's nothing else that makes sense. I think this just isn't the setting for them to... Because also no one's reacting. I mean, usually when if you see like Wu-Tang Clan.
Who?
Again, you don't know rap. But let's say there's 25 people on the stage and multiple people have mics, but people in the crowd may be doing it along with them. So it's just all this big communal thing. When you just have a bunch of people and they're rapping and no one knows what they're rapping and no one's with them and no one's they're
walking in different directions. And Flop did it first and then tried to hand it off to what's the girl's name? B-Had?
No, stop that. B-Fab.
B-Fab. Well, she's worse. She's worse than Flop is. And it like you said, the people are just staring like, what in the fuck is going on here? And but they do that, and then suddenly the lights go out, and Bray Wyatt's music and lighting comes up, and suddenly they don't do the whole long entrance, thank God.
The laughter has stopped.
But the day the laughter stopped, suddenly Bray Wyatt and Captain Howdy are on the apron of the ring on opposite sides of the ring, and what was Flop and Adonis and Behave, they're all surrounded. Beehive. There you go, Beehive. I can remember that one. And basically, they get in, and Bray Wyatt, they don't even trust Flop to even take a fucking double team. He grabs Flop Dollar and he throws him over the top rope, and Michael Cole insults him on the way out. At least he got over it that time. And then they grab Adonis and they Abigail him, and he lays there in the ring not moving while Bray Wyatt gets the microphone and does his promo. And I don't know why in the world they did not have the guy take the move and roll out, because laying there not moving, it became distracting, fake, and at some point comedic that this guy's not going to even move. He's dead, and nobody's run out there to check on him just because this guy's talking on a microphone. Boom, take the bump, roll out to the floor. You've done your fucking business. Thank you for coming, and focus on the talent in the ring. However, the talent in the ring was Bray Wyatt and Uncle Howdy, or Captain. What is his name? Is it Boy Howdy, Uncle Howdy, or Captain Howdy?
You said Captain before, and I thought it's Uncle, I think.
It's Uncle. It's his uncle.
He's the uncle of Howdy Doody.
Well, there's Howdy. Well, and you remember Howdy Doody's wife, Debbie. Debbie Doody? She had no comment on his death.
They didn't take Howdy Doody out to personal appearances because they didn't want to damage the puppet. They had photo duty. Seriously, that's what they call it.
Photo duty?
Photo duty.
Okay, well, anyway, speaking of the duty in the ring, Bray Wyatt tells Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley that if the lights go out, they should run. And I'm like, oh, God, we all need to run if he's going to work with either one of those two.
Although I would love to see Brock just throw everyone around that's involved with this. Like one of those Brock meltdowns where he just takes down the lighting rig.
Yeah, just fuck it. Yeah, fuck it. I'm done with this. Let me just throw everybody away. But so that was that. The lights went out and they went to the break. And then another controversial situation happened that I think we talked about it earlier. It's been so long earlier in the program with Ariel Helwani, one of his stand-ups that apparently Tony Khan lost his mind over, out in the crowd with the fans cheering and supporting hometown Sami Zayn. And
hey, let me stop you right there, because we really haven't talked about what did you think of this crowd? Because by this point of the show, and especially these stand-ups with Ariel in the crowd, that wasn't just a crowd happy to be on camera. That was a crowd happy for the moment. What did you think of that?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's what's saving them. And I'm sure the Elimination Chamber that we have to report on after we watch that later on, they're going to be live. The crowd in Montreal, think about this. Not only has Montreal always been a top wrestling city when they had a local hero, whether it be the Rougeaus or whether it be Jacques later on, Rougeau, he was the last. Jacques Rougeau was running independent shows that would draw 10 or 15,000 people in the Forum 20 years ago. And now they always come out and support a local hero. So, this is, they're lucky they booked this 2-night stand, as they say, because the crowd is helping them out a lot in this. This hadn't been a great show, I bet, for the people to watch live, but they don't care because they're just involved in the weekend. I bet you a lot of these people are going to be at both. So I would think they would have tried to give them a little help on this SmackDown to start the weekend off right, but Jesus Christ, Sheamus and Drew against the Vikings now. And as is the pattern, 43 minutes into the show, the bell rings for the second match, and they get 90 seconds of wrestling in, and we go to the break. And it's not like anybody wants to see this match anyway, because, God damn it, again, as we've said, this is the stalest bunch of Vikings, brawlers, brutes, and the other guys. And
yeah, it looks like they need Bill Dundee to come to town and be the booker. That's what this looks like when you see this. Mid-South, right before Dundee.
And they came back and they went 4 more minutes, and Sheamus gave the Viking a big move off the top rope, and they went to the break again. And then they come back and they do about another 4 minutes, and then Drew wins with the big kick. So they got like less than 10 minutes of match on the air, broken up by over 6 minutes, almost 7 minutes of commercials. But at the top of the 9 o'clock hour, we know what's paying the rent and the light bill around there these days, because they continued the Bloodline and Sami Zayn package with them turning on Sami and beating him up at the Rumble and coming up to present day. So we're up on that story. And then we get Asuka versus Liv Morgan with Carmella on color. And Asuka's entrance started at 9:04 and the bell rang at 9:14. After they went to the break and they showed a package and they had other people talk and the announcers were with and
it was the best match on the show so far.
Well, that's faint praise, by the way. So they milk it for 10 minutes. They go 1 minute. Raquel Rodriguez Gonzalez de Molina comes to ringside to yell at Carmella, and Nikki Cross comes down to the desk to start kissing Michael Cole on the head, and then bounces up and down on the desk like she's riding a portable Sibian. Google that one, kids.
No, do not do that, kids.
And SYBIA.
Stop it. Do not do that, kids.
Get your parents' permission first. And after 2 minutes of this match, they go to the break. So then they come back, and Nikki is still on the announce desk asking Michael Cole, will you be my friend? And Natalya has showed up at ringside, and Carmella is talking and sounds like Moon Zappa. And after about 3 minutes of that, Asuka wins, and all the girls jump in and do moves to each other.
Moon Unit Zappa?
Moon Unit Zappa. And that's what I saw there. Did I miss anything? Would you like to jump in on that one?
I like Asuka, and I thought the action in the ring was okay. I hate, in general, before any kind of event coming up with multiple people, they always have to do this where two of the participants or some of the participants are in a match, and then the other ones are at ringside, and the other ones come down, and everyone gets involved because we're going to have the match tomorrow. They always do that.
Each girl didn't even get 1 minute. The segment was shorter in minutes than the number of girls that were all interacting and fighting and arguing. And so how do you keep it fucking straight?
I like that Raquel Gonzalez's thing. Is it Gonzalez or Rodriguez now? What is it now? Legitimately. What is it? Rodriguez. Raquel Rodriguez.
Richard Ramirez is what her name is going to be by next week.
I don't think so. I think they may regret that like they did when they named Gunther after a Nazi. But Raquel Rodriguez, what I was going to say is my favorite thing about her is that, like, her gimmick is, look, I have a back. That's all it is. It's just turning around and showing you, like, look, it's here.
Well, might as well not show the front because that's the only place where nature shortchanged.
Oh, stop it. Be nice. You see, you have to get rude. You have to take this down to the gutter.
I wasn't being rude. I was just making an observation. Everything there didn't
you see,
fill out like
the observation ended. You didn't have to return to the observation. You just decided to observe some more. You're a real observer over there.
I'm a real observer. All right. So Gunther was in the back talking about Madcap Moss. And as soon as I heard Madcap Moss, I rolled my eyes because I love Gunther so much. But this guy... But I've had to watch it because of Gunther, and now I'm not mad at Moss anymore. I'm mad at everybody else that's had a hand in whatever they have done with his fucking career. By the way, it was only 7 minutes on this match from the start of the entrances to the bell by the time they got all their shit out of the way. But he's still named Madcap Moss, and he's got the fucking girl in his corner. Some random girl. What's her name? Emma?
She's not some random girl. It's Emma.
It's Emma. Emma Peel? I'd buy Diana Rigg. I'd take her. But so her name is Emma.
Emma.
Who gives it? Well, and over there's Carol. And well, there's Gertrude.
Well,
don't give.
There's Cher. There's Madonna.
Okay,
Liza.
they're over. I know who they are. I don't know who Emma is because she ain't over. He's a baby face. He's fighting Gunther. Why have they got it? They're doing this fucking dramatic horse shit, the entertainment bullshit that the writers come up with him and some fucking chick. Fuck. Haven't they done enough? Won't they piss in this guy's mouth while he's down there?
Can we say something positive?
I'm about to.
Okay.
I'm saying this has been complete talent goddamn assassination. And this
That's positive.
because this guy doesn't deserve it. He's still got the name Madcap. And he's got the girl in his corner.
You can't get past Madcap.
But no, I'm trying to finish my thought. But now he's wearing tights. He's got gear on, boots and tights. His physique is incredible. He's got size. He's a good-looking young fella. He's athletic. He's aggressive. They started out at a fast pace, and they were laying shit in. Remember, he's now against also Gunther, one of the best workers in the business right now. Before he was making goofy jokes and laughing and wearing suspenders and colored fucking, Emmett Kelly clown outfits and hanging around with Baron von Corbin when he was happy. And it was all silly and you never got a chance to see him work and do anything. Now, I wrote, it is criminal what they did to this guy, and that they haven't dropped the Madcap name is insane. And they're, like I said, sticking with this random fucking girl. They went 3 minutes to the break, but it was actually a good 3 minutes. They started at a fast pace. They were laying their shit in, and this guy was there for everything. And when they came back, they were still going toe to toe, and you could tell that Gunther, even if he was instructed to, he was certainly going above and beyond to make it a back and forth toe to toe match to try to elevate this guy. And the guy was carrying his end of the fucking deal. And finally, they did a chop battle, and finally Moss opened up and made a comeback. Everything made sense. The work looked good. Nobody cares about Moss in the crowd. Nobody gave two shits. But that wasn't his fault. That's the way they presented him and what they've done to a guy now that we see can do shit like this. And he wouldn't stop fighting. And he gave Gunther a sack of shit slam off the top rope. Gunther at 260 or whatever he still is. So the guy's strong as a fucking bull. Got a 2 count. Nobody bought the 2 count. Because they know that it's Madcap Moss and he's been a joke and that's the way they have put him in their minds now. And Gunther got the sleeper and the fans started singing Genericos, ole, 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 ole. And finally, it's been a great match, though, just judging it by a match. And then suddenly, out of the sleeper, Moss is struggling, and Gunther just turns him around, picks him up, and power bombs him. Boom, 1, 2, 3. Out of the fucking blue. Out of nowhere, even. Moss, good God. I mean, he's actually, from that match, just looking at what he did and not what Gunther would have even led him to do, just looking at his performance of it and what he was doing on his own. I always say a lot of times, I'd like a guy like so-and-so in OVW. I would have loved to have this guy in OVW. He's already surpassed that. He's ready to be on the fucking roster. But, if he's been a fucking prospect like this and they have done this and nobody, I don't think now they'll never take him seriously. I don't think you can possibly reverse this.
They treated him like you had him in OVW.
Boy, they sure did, didn't they? But it's a shame. I don't see how if he goes away and they forget about him entirely, the fans I'm talking about, and they forget that a Madcap Moss exists, and maybe in 9 months they could, if he grows his hair out or does something different, and give him a different name, maybe this, you have something here. Or if he went to AEW at some point, and obviously would have to have a different name. Maybe they wouldn't know, or they'd feel sorry for him over there. But God, this guy's fucking great. And I think at this point, it's too late.
Hey, if I could say one other positive thing, the promo beforehand, Gunther could really talk. I didn't realize how good his English was. I guess I haven't watched too many of his promos.
Yeah.
He could really talk, but I really like Imperium together. Like when you just watch them backstage and you see their facial expressions behind him, they're actually really, really good together right now.
Yeah, and Gunther can talk. He has just enough accent that it fits the gimmick, and not enough accent that you can't understand him or that he's not articulate in English, as you said. So it's perfect. But anyway, now it's time for our main event of the evening, the interview. And again, and boy, this sure was they had one match with Gunther and Moss that was actually worth watching, and 10 minutes of an interview where the guy didn't even have to speak for 5 minutes of it because the crowd was so loud. And that was the best thing on the show. So that's why I say that not only a weird go-home program, but also may have devalued the fucking sale price. But here comes Sami, and in Montreal, what an ovation. And they're singing, I don't even now his tune has a whoa, 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 whoa that they can sing. And then ole, 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 ole.
Well, that's his old song. That was his old song.
Well, yes, but I know but the new song, I don't know the tune, but there's more whoa in his new song. And
no, he doesn't have a new song. His new song is the old song.
Is that the old song?
Yeah.
Well, I love the old song. Whatever song he's got, I'm not talking about a new song, old song. I mean, ole, ole, ole was what they sang for El Generico. That's what I'm saying. That's the old thing they used to do for him long ago. And now they're playing his song that's got the whoa that they can sing along also. Whatever. There's a lot of whoa and whoa and oh and ole, ole, oh. And everybody's got a oh. And Seth Rollins with the oh, whoa, or whatever.
Where's Andrade? Ole, ole, oh.
I don't know but nevertheless, Sami comes out and he's over, and he doesn't have to speak for minutes. I think it was like 5 minutes. And they chanted, "You deserve it," and Sami, and ole, 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 ole. And Sami was great because on his face, he went through all the emotions. He was touched. He was laughing. He was serious. He had a tear coming down his cheek. And without saying a word, this was the 5 best minutes of the fucking show. Sami Zayn standing in the ring, the crowd coming all over themselves, and the emotion showing on Sami's face that was actually genuine. And then all he had to do is do the promo, which he did. You know, WrestleMania, everybody thinks is the big show, but the Elimination Chamber is once in a lifetime. And he spoke French and got a big pop because they're bi up there. Everybody in Montreal is bi, you know.
Bilingual.
They speak both the English and the French. And then he just said it's tomorrow night. It's Roman Reigns versus Sami Zayn and the entire city of Montreal. And Roman, you're going down. Oh, big pop and more singing and more music. I mean, it was perfect. That was and somebody tweeted, yeah, said that's a Cornette said that El Generico would never be a star. And I was right. He never was. Sami Zayn is, but El Generico never was. This is the fucking guy. And you remember the gimmick, Brian, so you can testify to what has been the best part of the Bloodline Sami issue. Has it been the matches, or has it been the verbal interplay between Sami and the rest of the group?
Verbal interplay and facial expressions.
Well, El Generico was a mute. And he didn't have facial expressions because he had a mask on. And he was named after a fucking rib to be a generic luchador when he was really a ginger Muslim from Montreal. he refused to speak even when his promotion was bought by a television company and didn't want to lose the gimmick. And what was my assessment of the guy underneath? He can work his ass off. He can sell, especially as a babyface, and he's remarkably, deceptively strong for his puny physique. And I never knew whether he could talk or not because he refused to do it. But now, 10 years later, with no mask, a different name, and actually speaking in 2 different languages instead of none, he's one of the biggest stars in the business. Who could have possibly predicted? But that was the go home. I mean, that's the only thing really that sold the pay-per-view on this program was Sami. But like I said, at that point, maybe they figured if they haven't already decided to get it, they're not gonna. What do you think?
You know, the other thing is, I'm looking through the notes here. Other than Asuka versus Liv and everyone that ran into that, no one else on this show other than Sami is even on the pay-per-view.
Yeah. Well, they wanted to give him the night before to rest up.
Build up the matches on the pay-per-view.
Yeah.